Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a very interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the new Kershaw Bel Air. This is a USA-made Kershaw that is almost sure to be ridiculously popular. In fact, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Right before I started the video, I went and checked listings, and it was unsurprisingly sold out. Now, that's not to say that it's not worth checking. I'll link this knife down in the description. They will definitely restock this knife. I think Kershaw knows what they made. I think the community knows what they made. And everybody knows that it's going to be popular. So right off the bat, it might be a little bit difficult to get, but it will. I'm sure they'll keep making it. So there'll be links in the description for this knife. It's worth checking on. Spoiler alert, I'm a big fan of this knife. It's definitely going to be worth checking out for a lot of people. But I want to give you guys my thoughts after carrying it for a couple of days. So anyways, thanks so much to Kershaw for sending us in for me to take a look at. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. This is going to be one of those knives that I give away. So if you're not familiar with my channel, I get a lot of stuff, right, from companies to review. I always, speak my mind and say what I honestly think. But a lot of it gets given away on weekend live streams. So if you want to be a part of that, subscribe. Let's go ahead and get a measurement on this knife. Overall length of the Bel Air coming in at 7 inches. Blade length is 3 inches, and the cutting edge is about 2.85. How about some size comparisons up against the Demco 8010 and the Demco 8020.5? Any custom scales that you see during this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and others. So this guy is, on the smaller side, but because of the open ergonomic profile, it's not an annoying, like if they hooked it back here like they did on the back of the 20.5, that would have been obnoxious. They didn't. They left it open. Very classic. That looks like a copy of the bug out handle. Knife shape, like handle shape. Yeah. So if you knew, this handle profile did not originate with the bug out. It turns out this handle shape originated thousands of years ago when human beings figured out what shape of knife handle or tool handle would fit in their human hands. Anyways, let's go ahead and it's probably more than thousands of years ago, right? Let me know down in the comment section how old you think this handle profile is. Let's go ahead and put it up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3. Very similar overall length to the Para 3, but slightly more cutting edge, which I think is an important detail there. Shorter handle length, though. And then finally, let's put it up against the Benchmade Reptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue and the Hogue Deca. Is this a competitor to the Deca and Bug Out? Well, yeah, I think almost certainly, right? We're at a slight angle here, so the Deca looks monstrous, but it's really not, right? This is not the first time a company has tried to tackle this obviously popular territory. Let me give you some other examples. The Rat, the Elementum, the Pyrite. These are all arguably, right? I mean, hardcore super bug out fans, which would be a weird club to be involved in, will say that the bug out was the first. Yeah, if you're talking about like the modern community that I guess was present when the bug out landed and did its thing. But this is obviously popular territory, and it's not because the bug out is like some magical thing that's never been accomplished in human history before. It's because it matches the preference of people, and people have existed for a very long time, right? So this is kind of a natural territory when it comes to day-to-day EDC preferences of your average Joe, right? Now this knife manages to still do its own thing, and it's on the smaller side. Later in this review, you're going to hear me say, I wish they would do another one, but bigger. And yeah, I think that. I definitely do. Right, but let's go ahead and move on here. The carry profile, this was beautifully easy to carry and comfortable to carry. It's actually thinner quite a bit than the Para 3. Length and height up against the PM2 and Pair 3. Nowhere near as long as either, honestly, and nowhere near as tall. Just really great. What are we looking at for materials? In the unboxing, I stupidly said, is this Richlite? I don't know. I think it's the I've never seen aluminum that is the color of, like, desert flats, right? I mean, this is like baked soil. It's really, really light. It's like salad dressing, kind of like a Caesar kind. But I don't know what the texturing threw me off. I just wasn't aware that it was metal. It's aluminum. So that's kind of cool. And I can tell you right now, if you're like, oh, I don't like salad dressing color. Well, I'll tell you, it's almost, I say this with almost complete certainty. This knife will be popular enough that Kershaw will probably make it in lots of colors. So if you don't like this color, I think that's okay. I think you can expect to see it in different blade finishes and different aluminum anodes, right? Perhaps they'll do different materials. Perhaps they'll do micarta or what, I don't know. Kershaw doesn't usually do that, do they? I don't know. We're going to see different stuff, but that's what you're looking at here. And then we have MagnaCut. Wow, what's the HRC? I don't know. It didn't dull or show any signs of fatigue while I was using it. I'm going to be honest, though. I don't really put these things through crazy paces. It's still slicing paper just fine, so the edge is still there. But it went through some cardboard. It went through some light plastic, the same kind of stuff that I usually cut day to day. I'm not force testing it. I'm just using it when I need a pocket knife. So seems fine, but I honestly don't know. I don't have the equipment to test the Rockwell hardness, and I'm a design reviewer. So I do with that information what you will. But it is MagnaCut. It is CPM MagnaCut, so that's cool. The weight. The weight. What does this weigh? Let's find out. It weighs 2.89 ounces, which is just fantastic. The balance is just behind that choil, quite a ways from the pivot, but you're not going to notice it because it weighs less than 3 ounces. Any amount below this, to me, is trivial, right? 1.8, 2.25, 2.6, it doesn't matter. This is now ultra lightweight to me. And as long as it's a large enough object, as long as it is I'm having so much trouble talking. As long as it's a large enough object, still messed up, that I don't forget that it's in my pocket and wash it, that's fine with me. There's a certain point where something is so lightweight and so compact that I will forget it and I will wash it. That's why I don't like the mini bug out or knives that are that size, because I forget that they're there. So in my opinion, this is big enough, dense enough, right, that you won't do that. But I guess that's up to you. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'll get out my tools as per usual. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use in this channel. I already have the T8 in here because I know that this is going to be a T8, and it is. Captive pivot. Thank you. Excellent. When did Kershaw come up with this? Probably the same time human beings figured out that this handle profile worked for your hand, right? That's how old this idea probably is. Other companies who have pivots that are not captive, come on now, it's 2024, captive pivots. T6 screws, unfortunately, Kershaw really loves T6. I wish that they would just do all T8, but okay. They must have like a kajabillion generic T6 screws that are black, because my God, they use them on everything. That's probably why they haven't changed them. But or maybe they're just like, hey, shut up, Complex. We just like T6 and we don't bow to you, idiot. I hope there's a Kershaw rep watching and they laughed at that. I sincerely hope that that's the case. The carry depth of this is mega deep. So if you like deep carry clips, you're going to love this. Absolutely. They also recess the screws, but not the clip. That's okay because you have 2 screws holding the clip in, so it's not going to wiggle all over the place. And this is an ambidextrous locking system, the Duralock, right? It's a crossbar lock. That's what Kershaw calls it. The clip mounting positions are ambi, and the clip itself is very good. I mean, this is great. Honestly, it could have been mounted a little bit up or down. I don't need things to be super deep carry, but the clip and where it's mounted are just fantastic. So nice work there. But anyways, let's go ahead and measure blade stock thickness, and then we'll get on into the meat and potatoes. And truthfully, guys, there's not a whole lot left to say here. The blade stock thickness on this is quite thin at 85 thousandths. That is noticeable. The blade is flat ground and quite slicey. Meat and potatoes time. This is a small knife that you can get a full grip on, which is something that I appreciate because of the blade shape and length. You can also get your finger up right behind the edge to do some nice controlled draw cuts. That's something I also appreciate. Day to day, this is, as much as I like larger knives, this is kind of the ideal EDC size and shape, right? It's the reason that, like I said, so many other companies have tackled this same idea, right? Because it works. It works. It fits, even if your hands are way bigger than mine or way smaller than mine, right? It's going to work. The action, we didn't really talk about the action very much. It's superb. The Duralock is great. There's no stick. It runs on bearing, so it drops right into the closed position. The positioning of the studs and, what's acting as the detent, which is the Duralock itself. It's just great. Very comfortable. Stud size is good. The cutout and access to those studs is awesome, whether you like to reverse flick with your fingernail. Maybe you like to use the meat of your finger like me, right? Not fingernail under, but you get the actual flesh of it on that stud there. Maybe that's what you like to do. It works really well that way. Snappy, nice, right? Or you can just do this, right? It works. I love the chamfering around the edges, and they added a little personality up here. That's cool. Man, I wish you guys would have just textured it a little bit. That's just me. Doesn't have to be that way, but that's just me. It's nice though. It looks good. This has got a little bit of chalky. I think it's actually got a little bit of texturing. Like it's. I mean, not what I wanted, right? But it's not just perfectly smooth flat aluminum. So I don't know what they're doing there. I don't know if they take like really fine sandpaper, and I have no idea. But yeah, black wash is probably my or like a black tumbled finish is probably my least favorite finish ever. But okay, whatever. That's a preference, right? The cutting geometry is great. The bevel is pretty good on one side. It's a little bit wider than the other, but I don't know how much I want to nitpick there. It's pretty close, right? It's super duper close. I'd like them to be as even as possible, but okay. Kershaw does a decent job of keeping a lot of their branding and, keeping their billboarding like, whoa, It's not Microtech where they want to fill every last bit of space on the blade with like, their address and their phone number and their dog's favorite color. They don't have to do that. They just put the American flag. They got some codes. It says Kai USA. It says MagnaCut. And then it's got a little in-house design logo, which is fine. But, truthfully, the fit and finish all the way around is very, very good. And something happened with Kershaw sometime in the last 3 years where they went from like, fit and finish to, wow, that's really good. So I don't know what the deal is. They got new machines or what, right? But this is spectacular fit and finish. Outside of the bevel, the final cutting bevel on one side being ever so slightly different, which is a negligible thing, right? It's really perfect. So that's really nice here. I don't have any qualms with the operation. The ergonomic lines is very comfortable to hang on to. That clip is on the shorter side and well below the 50% line. So even back here where you can feel it a little bit, it's wide enough and the edges are knocked down enough and the bill is not. I'm so glad that they just did a normal clip. Just a good normal, it's just drop, slight swoop, right? Just great. Not really a choke up spot. You could, I don't know, I wouldn't. Just right here is just fine. Beautiful. Lanyard hole, so there you go, great. If you like lanyards, knock yourself out. Clip can be mounted for a right or left-handed carry. Yes, there is a right and wrong way to carry your knife. If you're right-handed, the clip should be mounted on this side. If you're left-handed, the clip should be mounted on this side. The knife should be in your pocket, pressed up against the back of your pocket seam so that the blade cannot come out. This is the correct way to carry your knife. Well, I don't carry my knife that way. That's fine. It's your property. You bought it. But it's wrong. I'm sorry. Listen, I like to stir the pot just a little bit. I like to, right? I am telling the truth. There is a right and wrong way to carry your knife. And it's not just based on my opinion, right? There's a reason that companies mount things a certain way, and then retailers and OEMs list them specifically as right hand or left hand, right? This would be listed as ambi, but it's not quad positional. It's bipositional. You try to get around that all you want, but I'm right. In and out of the pocket, it's great. Retention's good, but it's a steel clip, so you could technically bend it if you wanted to, but it's enough retention to keep it in your pocket, but in and out, it's great. Smooth surface, right? Lockup. Here's the stop pin, a little bit of shouldering, no blade play up, down, left, or right, fantastic. No stick, no pivot lash, very smooth and consistent into the closed position. It's just really, really good. Price, $165. To some people, they might classify this as a small knife. And as we all know, small knife can't be big money because reasons, right? And that's a cave person's perspective. But if you're not brand new to the world, if you're not just a sweet little baby, just not knowing what the heck anything is, right? If you're sharper than a marble, then you'll know that that's a pretty good price. It's considering we're looking at Magna Cut, we're looking at premium fit and finish, we're looking at premium materials all the way around, made in the USA, or the vast majority of the knives made in the USA. I think Kershaw did a great job with this. I really do. I personally would prefer that they do a larger one. I would love for them to do the same thing. Now I know, it's probably not going to happen. But I would love for them to do what CJRB did with the Pyrite and the Pyrite XL. It doesn't need to be this big, but I just feel like this is destined to be a very popular model, right? It might not be like, the same kind of fame and glory that we saw from the Bug Out when it released originally, but I feel like this is going to be a staple in their lineup. I'm just guessing. So it would be cool to have. It doesn't have to be a massive one. It would be cool. We got a bigger one, 8 1/4. That's all I'm asking. But this is cool. I personally expect to see different colors. That's just me. But anyways, nice job on the pricing. Nice job on the product. If you pick this knife up, I think you'll like it. So it'll go in my recommended knives playlist. That's going to be it for me today. Check out the links in the description for this guy. Might be sold out, might be there. Depends on when you're watching it. But if it's sold out, have faith. It'll come back. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like. So check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.